What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. It's a little bit windy today, so I'm sorry if you guys hear some of that coming through, but I just had to talk about this Nintendo online service and how absolutely ludicrous it is. Like, if Nintendo were a comedian, this would be the funniest joke they've ever told. Smash JT. This is absolutely ludicrous. I can't even make this up. When I woke up this morning and I saw on my Twitter feed Nintendo had finally posted their reveal video for how much the Nintendo Switch online service plus was going to cost us and if it's going to be worth the value, I went into that thinking, okay, it's going to be probably, it's $20 right now for the individual plan. It's probably going to be, what, $25, we'll say $24.99. They'll add $5 to it. And I'd be like, probably not for me, but I could see why some people would want to relive these games and play them again and on the convenience of the Switch for $5 a month. Okay, I get it. I wouldn't even argue. I'd be like, okay, yeah. I could even see 30. I'd be like, that's really pushing it. But I could see it if people really like these Nintendo games and really want the added convenience of playing them on the go, having save states, added multiplayer. Pretty cool. $30. Okay, because it comes with the Animal Crossing DLC, it comes with the old Genesis games. I could see the $10 a year addition to it. I'll be like, okay, I get that. And it's just a year. That's like, okay, makes sense. These are digital games that you can literally play on your Switch. Cool. And then the price comes out. $50. Okay, let me try again without laughing. $50. $49.99 USD for a bunch of old ROMs. Nintendo, are you out of your mind? I mean that wholeheartedly. Have you completely lost it? Nintendo is like the old grandpa in the room that has just completely lost their mind. They have no concept of money. They have no concept of who the target audience is with this. They have no concept of what this should have cost in the first place. It's laughable. I've seen people already defend it. I don't even know what to say. At what price would people stop defending this? $100? $200? $300? Like, what price would the most staunchest Nintendo hardcore fanboy say, all right, Nintendo's being a little bit greedy here? I've had people say, oh, these games cost so much money if you want to buy them physically. Yeah, you own them physically. You can sell them and make your money back or build value in those. This is literally a service that's gone if you stop paying for it. You don't build equity in it. You're not adding to a collection. You're literally just playing these ROMs on a service. And I hate to reference what the music industry did, but the whole situation kind of reminds me a little bit of what was happening back in the early 2000s with the music streaming, where these corporations that owned the rights to the music were getting way too greedy, charging $1 per song and then raising it to $1.09, $1.20. But at least people had the availability and option to buy them if they wanted to and keep them forever. But even that wasn't working for the long run. So they had to find something better. And that's when Apple Music came in. That's when Spotify came in. That's when Amazon Music came in. That's all these streaming services came, the streaming wars for music. And even for movies with Netflix and Amazon movies. Like, every other realm of media has gotten to the point where they understood their customer. They understood the value of what they're streaming to people. They understood that people aren't going to spend crazy amounts of money for stuff that came out 20 plus years ago. Nintendo hasn't learned that lesson yet. They're about to, but they haven't yet. And I think this all kind of, ironically, stems from Nintendo's first experience with it back when the original Animal Crossing came out on the GameCube. And for those of you that remember that actually had ROMs included with it for free. It was like it had a little bonus benefit for people that didn't even know, like myself included, didn't even know when I bought the game that I was able to play Mario, Legend of Zelda, Clue Clue Land, Balloon Fight, Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Like, I'm just off the top of my head, these are the ones I remember. I think there were like 20 ROMs in that you could unlock through different methods. And it was really like a fun addition. And Nintendo just put them in for free. And I think from that was the moment where they were like, oh, they even did it with Metroid, with Metroid Prime. If you connected your Game Boy, you could get the original Metroid, which is pretty cool too. But after that, they kind of were like, oh, wait, we should probably stop putting these ROMs everywhere for free for people to own through legitimate services in Nintendo. This is a valuable property. Look at what the secondhand market is selling these for. These ROMs are intrinsically worth way more than we were giving them credit for. And that's when they first start going wrong. That was my major frustration with all of this is Nintendo has gone down this path with their ROMs, their IPs, that they think that they are so valuable that people will literally pay whatever it takes to get them. And I think this moment right here is the moment that's gonna wake a lot of people up. It's gonna make your eyes open and say, whoa, what the hell does Nintendo think these games are worth? If I wanted to play Ocarina of Time, first off, I have like, I think 12 different means of playing it in my house alone. This would be number 13. People say, oh, you can play it on the go, though. Okay, I got it on my DS. Oh, but you don't have to bring your DS everywhere. Oh, okay. My point being, it's available everywhere, and they're treating this thing like this is the first time these games have ever been available to play on the go. And it's not. And it's frustrating to me that people are defending it instead of seeing it for what it is. Pure, uncut greed. In the highest form. And I can say this genuinely, that it's not about the money. I could pay it. The money's not an issue for me now. I could pay that without a problem. My issue is the principle with this. That Nintendo is trying to take advantage of people and tug at their nostalgic heartstrings to manipulate them into thinking they have to have this for some reason. It's hysterical. At most, $30. And that would have been high. That would have been really high. The service itself still doesn't have a good friend system or adding people. Still doesn't have voice chat. Still doesn't have good servers. Like, this thing is still bare bones, pathetic, embarrassing. And Nintendo has the audacity, the gall to say, oh, we're going to up the price over 100%. Oh, that's funny. And I know that people say, oh, if you don't like it, just don't buy it. Move on with your life. At least it's available for people out there that want. Here's the thing. I would have liked it. I would have thought, it should have been something they just threw in. But instead they went the direction of, oh, let's just throw in the Animal Crossing DLC, which literally has nothing to do with these ROMs at all. They're just desperately, they probably did some case studies and group studies and were like, oh, wait, yeah, we're going to get laughed out of the room if people hear that we're charging this for these games. We need to add something else to it. So they add the Animal Crossing DLC. Added value. You don't have to buy it, though. You can just ignore it. But you know what I can do is I can use my platform to call out Nintendo. And maybe, if enough people do this, get them to acknowledge the people that enjoy Nintendo. I enjoy Nintendo games. I do. I still play them. Often with my kids all the time. But Nintendo themselves needs to wake up. And people need to tell them that what they're doing is not acceptable. This is ludicrous. It's laughable. It's literally comedy in the right light. Man, it's getting really windy here. Stand by this tree. Hopefully this is a little bit better. But yeah, Nintendo completely losing their mind. I think the problem is they put way too much value in these ROMs. And people, for better or worse, are going to start realizing there are other means to play these games. Yeah, of course, you can buy them for an arm and a leg on eBay or Craigslist or whatever. Or you can pirate them. No one's going to say anything. Might be illegal. If you have a hard backup of it at your house, then I don't believe it is. I don't know the ins and outs of that. But my point being, just like the music industry, people are going to find ways around it if you start overcharging them. That's exactly what's happening right now. So I couldn't even say I fault people if they were pirating these games to play them, because there's no affordable option to play old ROMs of these classic games. And Nintendo is trying to take advantage of the fact that the secondhand market is worth so much by saying that these ROMs are worth a lot because it costs a lot to buy them on the secondhand market. That's different. You're not buying a physical item that you could resell down the road for maybe more money. This is literally the rights to play a game, and then they can take it off the service whenever they want. They can remove it. They can add other games. You can buy a controller separately, and then if you stop paying for the service, your controller is basically rendered useless. That's another thing too. Those of you who've been watching me for a while, you'd know about my N64 mini video. It did pretty well. It got I think 300,000 plus views off the top of my head. I don't know, something like that. It got a lot of views. And I think it did that because I had a good idea. And I really wish Nintendo listened to me, because they wouldn't be in this awkward predicament right now if they did. They got some jackasses at their decision-making headquarters and the directors that are like, oh, let's do this because these games are worth this. They're not. What Nintendo should have done, here's the thing, because I don't want to make a rant video bitching about this without saying, oh, here's how they could have made it better. I already did that, but I'll do it again for those of you who missed the video. Here's what they should have done. This would have resolved everything. Sell the controller with these games on a cartridge together. Boom. You buy it once, you're done, you have them. Where's the problem? Oh, not enough money for you? That's the era we live in. Everything's turning to digital streaming, and we need to make monthly payments and annual payments and make as much money rapidly over time with people, just compounding it, instead of giving people value for their money. Which is ironic because Sega already did the compilation of Genesis games. You can already buy that on the Nintendo Switch. And people are ignoring that. I've seen it for sale for $10 sometimes too. That's the funny thing. People are ignoring that and oh no, but you can get the Genesis games and you can play multiplayer with them. You can, which I think maybe it was N64 only. I don't even know. It was such a weird delivery of what you can and can't do with these games. Things that they added that nobody I know of was asking for, and saying, oh, you can now play multiplayer on Star Fox 64 online. Great. I'd love to find 3 friends on my Nintendo Switch that all are willing to pay this price for N64 games, and all willing to get online at the same time and deal with the terrible, laggy Nintendo Switch Online service to play an N64 game together. N64 was built for playing together in a room. The enjoyment of having that experience and laughing together and having the camaraderie. I guess if you had a serviceable online with cameras and video and voice chat, then you could kind of get a piece of that back. But what Nintendo has right now is none of that. So all of this is just funny to me. Again, buy it if you want to. I'm not going to judge people, but at the same time, at what point are you going to start questioning Nintendo's motives and how much they overcharge for stuff that really doesn't deserve to be the price points that they put it at, in my humble opinion here. Again, maximum should have been $25, $5 more. Ultimate fans of Nintendo maybe could have gotten around $30. I wouldn't have even made a video. I would have been like, whatever, Nintendo being Nintendo. $50? Get out of here. That's how I feel about this situation. Be very interested to hear your opinions, both sides of the argument, by the way. I think, I'm not saying what I say has to be and what goes. I'd be curious to hear how you would justify Nintendo's actions here, and if you're okay with it. And let me know in the comments why. Let's have a discussion down below. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, you stay smashing.
The very first time Spider-Man ever appeared in a comic book in August of 15th, 1962, before I was born. And then this was so popular that this one they started to do March of 1963, and that's Amazing Spider-Man #1. And look at the conditions. You want to hold them?
Okay,
You got about $1 million.